Hello and welcome to the German Lidl website. We're here today because I think they've launched some of the best gardening deals you'll ever see. And even if you're not in Germany, stick around. A lot of these offers are likely to show up in your country too. Now, we're not just browsing through the deals, I'll also walk you through the tools I've tested myself and share my honest thoughts on them. This is the September leaflet, but keep in mind, many of these items usually pop up online about a week earlier. So, let's dive in. Starting with these 20-volt Parkside Cordless Pruning Shears, the B1 version made by Grizzly Tools. At their new €30 price tag, they are probably the cheapest they've ever been. And they probably are the cheapest cordless pruning shears you can get these days, so expectations should be low. They're not brushless, so the handle is a bit chunky. However, a slimmer brushless version would cost more, so it's a trade-off. The blades aren't lightning fast, but they're fine for casual use. With these being a part of Parkside's X20 system, you can use any X20 Parkside battery from the tiny 2A to the massive 12A one. However, even with the smallest 2A 20-volt battery, these run for what seems like hours. And it's the battery I'd use for them. You'll get sufficient runtime and a low weight to carry around. Performance-wise, you'll get smooth cuts on branches under 1 cm in diameter. Softwood of up to 1.5 or even 2 cm in diameter is no problem. Thicker than that, proceed with caution. The motor could probably power through thicker branches, but the blades, not built for that kind of stress. And with a single replacement blade costing around €15, it's not really worth the risk, is it? Because this is what happened to mine. So, should you buy them? Well, if this is your first cordless pruner, they are a solid, budget-friendly intro. Just don't expect miracles, and definitely don't abuse the blades. Let's not forget about this, the 20-volt Parkside mini chainsaw. For some of you, this might actually be the perfect balance. It still runs on a brushed motor, and it doesn't have an integrated oiling system, which I'll admit probably annoys me more than it should. But at €40, it's hard to complain too much. It powers through thicker branches without too much effort, and it is noticeably lighter than the full-size version. So if you're a budget-conscious gardener looking for something compact but still somewhat capable, this might be the happy medium you have been looking for. And now let's move on to something a bit beefier, the 20-volt Parkside Cordless Chainsaw. This is one of the most affordable options out there, which does mean that it comes with a brushed motor. Design-wise, it takes some inspiration from its petrol-powered cousins. Even the handguard is functional, doubling as an on and off switch. You've got tool-free bar and chain tensioning, plus an integrated oiling system. All solid features for a budget-friendly tool. It's not exactly compact, but pairing it with the 8A battery isn't a burden. In fact, the extra weight gives it a better balance, a slight increase in performance, and a noticeable increase in its runtime. Performance-wise, it cuts through small branches with ease. Whether you're dealing with hardwood or softwood, the cutting speed remains somewhat consistent. That said, it does feel a bit bulky for the power it delivers. The brushed motor does get the job done, but it's not the most efficient choice for a tool of this size. However, for €40, I really can't complain much. For that price, all that matters is, does it work? And yes, it absolutely does. Sure, as I just mentioned, it does have its downsides. But if you already have a couple of Parkside 20-volt batteries lying around and you need something like this, it's actually a solid purchase. You're not going to win any chainsaw competitions, but you will get the job done. Eventually. And yes, there are 40-volt versions out there, but hey, for the price, this 20-volt model definitely earns its spot here. At a price of just €20, this next tool is an absolute bargain. It's the Parkside 20-volt leaf blower. It's as simple as it gets. Assemble it in one easy step, attach the battery, and press the noise switch. Honestly, I never expected much from these things, but this video gave me the perfect excuse to finally try one out. It feels really well balanced with a 4A battery, which is what I'll be using here. The 8A one works well too, but it adds a bit more weight than I'd like. So then, let's put it to the test, starting with some slightly damp sawdust. I'll be honest with you, I actually picked this up thinking it would be a bit of a joke. I mean, €20 for a leaf blower? I figured we could all use a good laugh. But honestly, I am impressed. For the price, it performs way better than I ever expected. Next up, let's try on this patch of land. A mix of fallen leaves, grass, and some, well, random nature bits. This garden has pretty much been left to do its own thing, and even here, the blower holds up surprisingly well. I've been using it quite a bit, and I have to say, it is genuinely surprising how effective it is considering the price. And also, it doesn't go through a battery as fast as I thought it would. At the start of this segment, I mentioned I never bothered with a leaf blower before. I always assumed you needed one of the expensive 40-volt performance models to get anything done. But this little 20-volt version, it's shockingly good in terms of price to performance. Yes, I know some of you will say the 40-volt Parkside performance or petrol models are stronger. And yes, you are right. But that's not the point here. This thing cost me 20 euros. In this economy, that's barely enough for lunch. And yet, it actually works, and it has a warranty. The next tool in this video is the Parkside grass trimmer. At 25 euros, I once again think it's priced really well. It's surprisingly comfortable and adjustable. The head tilts, the shaft extends, and there's even a spot on the handle to store spare trimming cord. And all of that makes it a really user-friendly tool. It's not that heavy at all, and using it with a 4-amp battery feels like the perfect balance between weight and runtime. As for the patch of grass I'm testing it on, let's just say this is now wild grass. Like, it hasn't been trimmed in ages. I honestly didn't think this little trimmer would handle it, but I was pleasantly surprised. Sure, it's not going to rip through like a petrol-powered one, but for something this compact and this cheap, it actually does pretty well. It takes a bit of time, yes, but again, I threw it into a deep end. In a more maintained garden, this thing will have absolutely no trouble keeping things tidy. And on the plus side, way less noise than a petrol-powered trimmer. So for me, that's already a big win. And let's not forget about these manual pruning shears. Only 2 euros. While they're fine for quick snips, you'll definitely feel the blisters if you use them for more than 5 minutes. But if blisters aren't your thing, check these out. The 4-volt Parkside gardening shears. Now, let's be clear, these are not powerful, and they're not fast. But take a look at the price, just 15 euros for a fully working tool. I've actually had these since they first came out about a year ago, and I even made a full video on them back then. Are they my main shears? Well, no, of course not. They can never replace a stronger pair, but for small branches, they're more than ideal. Back then, I tested them on thick branches, and up to about 50 millimeters, they handled them surprisingly well. But anything beyond that, and they start to struggle. But again, these cost about the same as the replacement blades for the 20-volt model. So even as backup shears, they are a great deal. And make sure you get the right ones. These are the Companies made shears, which are solid. There's another version by Grizzly Tools that's, well, let's just say not as good. After using mine for over a year, I can honestly say that while they are slow and underpowered, they're also sturdy, reliable, and absolutely worth the 15 euros. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, a like and a comment really go a long way. And I'd love to read your thoughts on my little garden tool selection. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos.